Well, hello and welcome to that favorite part of the evening. And today we are looking at the EC's internal wrangling. And some of the revelations indeed are, wow, shocking. Shocking. But then again, you know, you and I have made the EC institution a shrine, a god, a whole different planet altogether. Because we are so obsessed with voting, we will not let anything touch whatever it is that allows us to vote. So nobody dares goes, and you always hear the independence of the Electoral Commission and independence of the Electoral Commissioner, and so we keep quiet and leave them in their independence. But it so happens that maybe because of some personal misunderstandings between them out there, they are now spewing. First, it started with concerned workers of the EC who were petitioning that the EC Commissioner should be impeached. They send one to the president, send one to Yoko, and get all the processes running. The EC commissioner then also responds, you know, says, well, so I'm not the only one messing up. There are other people who are also messing up. But what does it do to our democracy? How much confidence does it build to, you know, give to us come 2020? Are these the same officials who are now going to prepare, you know, electoral material for us to go and vote when we are told that one person arbitrarily can set up 1,000 polling stations on his own? How do we trust them? And if you don't trust the EC, then what do you have? Chaos. But I'm sure by then we would have solved it. But in between, what do we do? My name is Nana Nsakwa, the fourth chief of the famous Little Republic of Akwemwedu and your favorite TV shows. When I come back, I have two fine gentlemen in the house to try and dissect how it is we solve the EC problem. Don't go. Well, thank you very much. EC's internal wranglings, and with me in the studio, sat right next to me, is Mohammed Abdul Aziz, MP for Mion. You're welcome. First time on the show.
Yeah, it's the first time meeting you.
Yeah. So then it's a fine. We find you know, but I'm bantam for my viewers and yeah, you know, your brother's already, Daniel's already paid his because he's been on the show before. So you're welcome.
Thank you.
Good. And Daniel Abwaji, MP for Bantama. Daniel, you're welcome.
Thank you, Nana.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you again, Nana.
Yes, good to see you again. But Daniel, let me start with you. I mean, what's happening and what do we do?
Let me just say good evening to your cherished viewers and good evening to you. I haven't seen you for some time.
Yes.
And my good friend too. I don't think if you were looking for political arguments, you would not be there to be able to compare your friends. Anyway, now this issue that is going on with the EC is unfortunate. Like your introduction is, you're looking at a situation where how it's affecting our young democracy. And the effects are many and diverse. This is very bad situation, you know, especially when it's coming from within. Even though in some way, for me, it is opportunity for improvement, we have to look at how we can deal with this, not on a political basis, as some of our friends in the NDCC, the NDC started talking about that. It's something that the MPP is planning. One, and the MPP has no hand about this. I think we should look at this issue from the national perspective, so that we can have a better solution and resolve this issue. Because Nana, to be honest with you, if you look at what is happening right now in the EC, people are going to start questioning our democracy. They're going to, the results of various elections. What happened? You know, are these people manipulated? If somebody is able to create 1,000, polling stations, what happened? There are so many questions that this is raising. The effect on the country as a whole. So this is what is happening to the so-called stability in a democracy, the Ghanaian democracy that everybody is envious of. That is bad. Even when you bring it down to just within the office of the EC, look at the effect on conflict resolution, performance evaluation. People who are for A, party A, or the group A, Mrs. Charlotte and her group, and people who are for the others. If you do something wrong, you know, and you are her party, you're her side, she's going to protect you. you know, and if you do something bad, so it's going to affect everything we have built so far with our EC. So I think that we should allow the state institutions to work, and Parliament must take the lead. That's how I believe we should do with this issue. You know, we should stop and avoid a situation where we try to politicize this, because this is very, very sad news, that all these things are going on in the EC. In a way, like I said, it's opportunity for improvement, but at the same time, it's a disgrace, it's not good, if these things are found to be true. But at the end of the day, if these things are found to be true, there has to be consequences, you know. And that's what I think my position is, just to begin with.
Mohammed, let me get your position on this saga.
Nana, good evening to you. First time engaging you.
Sure.
Yeah, I've always watched you from a distance. And good evening to our cherished viewers, especially my people in the Young constituency. Yeah. It's rather a very sad development. I wish this story had not come up. Whether we like it or not, the Electoral Commission is the foundation of our democracy. It is a major pillar on which our democracy hinges on. And so as a country and as political parties, we have every duty to protect the integrity of the Electoral Commission. And the Electoral Commission consists of people that works at the EC, who must be interested in the conduct of those individuals. We must ensure that the staff at the EC don't put their personal interest and relationship far above the interest of the state. Whatever we need to do as a country, we should. The clergy, the political parties, and civil society must intervene in this matter for us to save our young fledgling democracy. I'm saddened that full-fledged adults, you know, people who have been able to chair this institution, they've run the institution for God knows how long. I think apart from Madam Charlotte Osei, most of the commissioners have been there for a very long time. They have successfully conducted about 6-7 elections in this country, and Ghana is seen as a star when it comes to democracy within the sub-region. In fact, our electoral process have received some commendations both locally and internationally, and so we should be interested in consolidating all the gains that we have made. I would prefer a very useless democracy to the most perfect authoritarian regime. And so we have a duty as a country to protect this institution, Electoral Commission. Parliament, both the majority and the minority caucus must look at it in a very non-partisan manner, so that at the end of the day, we can continue to enjoy the fruits and benefits of the Electoral Commission that we all have built together in the past.
But the non-political manner, let me stay with you, Mohammed. I mean, the NDC, quickly jumped to the defense of Madam Charlotte Osei as soon as this issue came up. So before we realized that, look, it was their own personal internal wranglings going on. The NDC was there, full swing. I mean, what's that? Would you change your position? Because it then just looks like if the NDC has then become the spokesperson for Madam Charlotte Osei.
I have always insisted that we allow state institutions to speak for themselves. A situation where government officials or party officials, communication officers begin to assume the responsibility of communicating for and on behalf of some state institutions. I've always been very, very uncomfortable with that. But as a political party, and for that matter, a very major political party in this country, we have a stake in whatever is going on. We should have an interest, we should have a position. We are major players in the democracy of our country, and so nothing prevents the NDC, and for that matter, any political party, to share its opinion on the happenings at the Electoral Commission. It would be a very narrow and shallow attempt to analyze the happenings of the Electoral Commission and the posture of some officials just on the face of this petition. You see, if you were to cast your mind back to some comments that were passed about the person of Madam Charlotte Osei, you'd have every cause to worry. You see, Mr. Afarijan, Dr. Afarijan, sorry, who resigned somewhere in 2015, declared 4 elections for the NDC and 2 elections in favor of the MPP. You and I are aware of the insults that we subjected Dr. Afarijan to, you know, despite the fact that he had discharged himself as a professional, as somebody who was committed to the process. At age 70, he retired, and we had to look for a successor. Thankfully, it fell on Madam Charlotte Osei. The then President Mahama, through the constitutional procedure, appointed Madam Charlotte Osei to go and chair the electoral commission. You remember some of the remarks, and some of them I cannot repeat here. Our colleagues on the other side, perhaps they were. You see, as an opposition party, you don't need to always create the impression that state institutions don't work.
So
because if
are you saying so automatically the suspicion fell on them because of some of the remarks?
You see, without any material evidence, I must admit, without any material evidence, maybe I'm not a lawyer, but lawyers have what they call circumstantial evidence. I suspect, and the emphasis suspect, that there is a very long invisible hand that we are not seeing. When Madam Charlotte Osei was appointed, I remember Gabi Ochiridako, a leading member of the MPP, the then head of Dankwa Institute, indicated clearly that she knew Madam Charlotte Osei very well, and that she was a member of the NDC. In fact, she had been tagged by Mr. Gabi, and that was unfortunate. In fact, voting is a civic duty on all of us. It is a civic duty, including whoever is chairing the Electoral Commission. The only important thing is how he or she conducts herself as the chair of the Electoral Commission. And so I'm insisting that remarks made by some leading members of the MPP right after her appointment was unfortunate. And so people are inferring the likes of Gabi Ochiridako, Kennedy Ajapong, the then women's organizer, Madam Afisa Jaba, Nana Obiri Boahin. They had used some unprintable words, and the posture of the MPP all along was that this woman would not declare the election for us, even if we won the elections.
On that note, I want you to hold on there, and then we'll listen to Peter McMahon, and I'll come back and get Daniel's response. So let's listen to Peter McMahon.
I mean, from both sides, the petition and the answers, both of them stink. I mean, for me, it is a question of how the operations of an organization like the Electoral Commission has performed below belt. They've performed below belt. And anytime you raise an issue with the Electoral Commission, the answers you get is that it is an independent commission. But I kept saying that their independence cannot supersede the citizenry of this country. I kept saying that. Now that the cat is out of the bag, or should I even say it's coming out of the bag, because more will come. I think we have to wait. And now we'll call for a general, multi-dimensional inquiry, parliamentary or quasi-judicial, to investigate things that are coming on. And we can be invited to share our views on it. Even if, and the word is if the petition sails through, there's still the need to look at the structure and operations of the Electoral Commission for our future and for our own good as a democracy. Even if the 3 or 4 or 5 people at the helms of the affair are asked to step aside, there's still the need to look at the structure, operations of the Electoral Commission for our own good and our future as a democratic country.
Do you feel vindicated?
Well, I think it's early. It's too early to feel vindicated. It's too early because I, for example, have not been given the opportunity to speak.
You have things you want to speak about.
Of course, we have to speak about it. And I will do that under a commission of inquiry or something. People must swear an oath and speak.
You feel there's more that we ought to know than we are even hearing?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but I want to ask questions. I want to speak my mind on it. And I want to do this under oath.
Well, that was Peter McMahon, leading member of the NPP, also, you know, voicing his concerns with regards to, you know, the autonomous independence of the EC. But before we even comment on Peter McMahon's comment, let me come back to Michael, because I know that Daniel wants to rebut a little bit.
Nana, you see how my friend is struggling, Honorable Mohammed, in responding to your question, because to be honest with you, I think our friends in the NDC rushed. It is time that we put Ghana first, regardless of our political differences. That issue of this nature, don't just run and go and start pointing figures. Because from the way we were taught in Koforidua when we started Parliament, we have to be honorable about things. Then if you ask some things that I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know, or I don't have the evidence. Or I will tell you that this one, on this issue, I'm speaking my opinion. But if you have parliamentary minority, the minority group coming out to do a press conference and start pointing fingers and that say it is somebody is behind, some heavy hand is behind, you know, my friend was struggling to defend because it's a position the party has mistakenly rushed to take. You know this. But for this particular issue, when it is coming from within the EC, we shouldn't politicize it. Our friends in NDC have always, prior to the election, you know, they've been the spokespeople for the EC, but not on this issue. This is not, we are not contesting any election in this case. It came from within them. And each side of the group are talking. These groups are sending petitions, these groups are also responding. The EC is responding to all those 27, 28, whatever allegations that have been leveled against her. So the issue I'm saying is that our friends in NDC shouldn't have rushed. They should accept the fact that they rushed baselessly because they don't have a base. Else, if they do, then they should provide. Because this is a national issue that needs to be dealt with heads on. We are not. If it is true, and that's, of course, this is based on the fact, if it is true, we have to look into this issue. All the institutions, what do you call it? Parliament must be involved. All the various stakeholders that are involved, that care about our democracy, must be involved. So I think our friends in NDC, if they want, they should come back and withdraw all those allegations that they push forward. Because otherwise, they are going to make all of us politicize the issue. Who is chasing what? For what? What you have to understand is that the democracy or the way to win election have changed in this country. Now it's all about vigilance. And we were told that elections are won at the polling station. So in Bantima constituency, for instance, if you want to win the election, you must come and win it at the polling station. You cannot sit anywhere else and begin to manipulate it. But I think our democracy is right now in a crossroad. Like Honorable McMahon is saying, we need to look at it as a whole, have a comprehensive solution. And I agree with the speaker, with the leader of the majority in Parliament, the position that he's taking on this issue, that he believes that whatever happens, regardless of what happens, it is time that we look at our constitution again, and that anybody who is going to be appointed and confirmed as EC must get to test majority. In that case, whoever is appointing that person will do enough and extensive consultation so that we have somebody that we can trust, somebody that can actually do the job. Not a situation where one party comes in and you appoint somebody that you know and you just push it through because it's a simple majority. No, we should look at it comprehensively and find a solution to this. Otherwise, the young democracy that we are trying to grow in Ghana and in Africa as a whole is going to be tainted because what is going on is not good at all. The effects are too many. It's even going to affect our foreign investment. And all the things that you can imagine about the staff, the division, the staff, the allocation of resources is going to be affected, conflict resolution within the EC. And how are you going to conduct elections? Who is going to believe who?
Let me stay with you, Daniel. And sure. This issue where another allegation, which is fairly serious, that one person was able to just arbitrarily create 1,000 polling stations. Madam Charlotte said, she had to cancel it. Otherwise, they were going to create 1,000 polling stations. I mean, Kofi Bentil says it means that you're not voting. Somebody is choosing your leaders for you. How do we deal with this, if indeed it's true?
And like I said, as much as this is a problem and it's a dent on our democracy, to me, it also provides opportunity for improvement. Regardless of what the issues are, the allegations, we all agree, let's fly with it on that basis. But it is an opportunity for us to look at the whole system as a whole. We must set up committees that will look into how to fix this once and for all. So the issue of somebody cheating, the issue of somebody trying to favor somebody, the issue of, you could see people's poster. Actions, they say, speaks louder than words. Somebody's poster will tell you that this person is here to work for somebody to win. We can't go back that way. The people's will must decide who becomes the president, so that the person will be responsible to the people. So I believe it is a bad situation. It's going to affect us in diverse ways, but I believe there's opportunity for us. Whether it is true or not, the Electoral Commission as a whole, our constitution that gives them the mandate, the power, the independence, whatsoever, should be looked into and restructured if possible, regardless of where it falls. Whether Madam Charlotte said is going to be there, or she's going to be convicted, if this is found to be true, or whoever is going to be let go. Because, to be honest with you, if we find this to be true, I think there has to be consequences. Unless we stop accepting it, they continue to do it to us. So whether somebody is creating 1,000, 500, 200, it's very, very bad, very unfortunate. Because at the end of the day, you select wrong people to manage this country. And what you can expect is that the country will just be driven into a bad situation.
Mohammed, could the posture of the EC have triggered all this, where she's unable to get along with probably her immediate colleagues? Because Farijan, like you said, was there all this while and nothing happened. As soon as Madam Charlotte entered, this rift started. Now, her posture was very brick-walled, from the choosing of the logo, even the basic NHIS thing. Cards. She took it to court about 3 times. Yes. Went to Supreme Court and she was saying, look, no, because people who are not Ghanaians can get NHIS card. Therefore, you cannot come on to the vote. But, even for a layman or any lay person, thought it was fairly simple. But she kept going and going and going. And, could this be what is triggering, the people in there to the let's start this petition?
Well, Nana, let me assure my colleague and friend that I don't find myself struggling to answer the questions posed to me. I'm trying my possible best to answer them to the best of my ability.
Consistently with the party position.
No. Of course, I'm a member of parliament on the ticket of the NDC. Sure. And so I cannot abandon my party's position, of course.
You have an independent.
I'm making a statement.
Okay.
I have my own conscience.
Sure, of course.
But I'm also reminding you that exactly.
I do respect that.
Yes, exactly.
I respect
what I am saying is that we think that our position on this matter is calculative. We got our timing right, and we will not, at any point in time, withdraw statements that we believe to be true and fair, and that we still stand by whatever comments that we made in respect of this matter. I'm happy that at least members of the MPP are beginning to appreciate.
Before you land, what would happen if you say, listen, at the start of the issue, it looked as if, but going further into it, I'm
sure that I didn't listen to me properly.
Okay.
I'm saying that we would not withdraw any statement that we believe was made in a fair manner.
Okay.
We will not withdraw a statement that is premised on truth, that is premised on fairness. We will not.
Okay.
Simply because it doesn't fit the interest of the opposing party, we will not. As we speak today, we are convinced that the remark that we made were fair and proper.
The National Peace Council also came in and called for an arbitration.
Exactly.
Later on, they looked at it and said, oh, no. This is more than arbitration.
No.
Let the system work.
Exactly. And so we are not going after the Peace Council. We are going by our belief as a political party and a minority caucus in Parliament, that we believe that our position on this matter is true and fair. And so we stand by our statement. If at any point in time...
So you still believe that all these wranglings are the NPP triggering?
I'm making a point here.
Okay.
If at any point in time we have reasonable cause to believe that our remarks or comments were misplaced, why? We are a human institution. We would apologize to the Ghanaian public. But as we speak today, our position remains what we had communicated earlier to the Ghanaian public. Now, I'm happy.
Okay, let me take a quick break so you can flow. Let me take a quick break because while you're flowing, I want you to add that when the thing started, there was a petition by ghosts, quote unquote. And these ghosts managed to send their petition to the president and said, impeach the president. So we all then think, oh, hold on, where from these ghosts? You come up and do a press statement. Now the ghosts' names have come out.
And afterthoughts.
The ghost names have come out, and they've come up with several other allegations. So we are coming from the break, and then we'll talk about the afterthoughts. Don't move. Well, thank you very much for staying, and we're looking at the EC's internal wranglings. I'm in the studio with right next to me, Abdul Aziz, Honorable Member of Parliament for Myong, and Daniela Boaji, Honorable Member of Parliament for Bantama. And Mohammed was in mid-flow when I rudely interrupted and went for a break. So it's only fair that as the EC Commissioner here, I give him his vote back to continue. But I think where we were, I was trying to find out that, look, the initial story that broke where the ghost sent the petition to the president and all that, and therefore you came out and thought, hold on, there's an unseen hand behind pushing this. It just turns out that, the issue is opened up a bit, and it looks more like people within who have their disagreement, who decided to make themselves dirty with no help. And you're still thinking, no. Whether it's you or not, there's somebody behind it.
Nana, I was on the point of my colleagues from the other side now beginning to realize that you win elections at the polling station and that you don't win elections by chastising the chairperson of an electoral commission. Now that you realize that you win elections at the polling stations, I'm very, very happy that the MPP have come to that realization. This was something we made them to understand in opposition. They refused to do. They kept on bastardizing the EC and at every step finding faults for the EC and the EC chairperson. You remember the 76,000 names that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, now vice president, then vice presidential candidate to Nanado, he came to organize a press conference where he stated that over 76,000 names of Togolese were found on our Ghanaian register, and that was just 10% of the scrutiny of our register, and that they were yet to do the 90% and get back to us. Up to now, he hasn't gotten back to us. He has been elected as a vice president with that bloated register. This was a vice presidential candidate who told us that they had gone through some 10% of the Ghanaian voter register and had found about 76,000 names of Togolese on our register.
How's that linked to this?
I'm just telling you that there has been a consistent approach by the MPP to tarnish the image of EC and the chairperson. Look, Mr. Kennedy Ajapong, I have told you, for instance, this is something that is, you can cross-check. The member of Parliament for Asin Central, Kennedy Ajapong, has launched a scouting attack on Charlotte Osei, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, saying that she was appointed in exchange for something I will not be able to repeat on your platform. This was a sitting member of Parliament on the ticket of the MPP. Women's organizer of the same MPP came to give credence to those allegations that were made by Mr. Kennedy Ajapong. Nana Obiri Boahini, Deputy Secretary of the MPP, gave credence to it. All those attacks were targeted at Madam Charlotte Osei. And so you can tell that the MPP have some posture against the EC chairperson. That is worrying. Of course, the woman supervised an election that handed them electoral victory over some huge numbers, I must admit. And so I was not surprised when the president appeared before Parliament to give us the state of the nation. He had some kind words for Madam Charlotte Osei and the EC. But you see, if you were to look at all the remarks, all the negative comments that they had passed against this same person, you can tell that they are uncomfortable with her. Why? I can't tell. Now just imagine, my colleague was calling for us to look at the way of appointing an EC chair. In fact, it is a constitutional procedure. We have nothing to do about it. We can only reconfigure the constitution perhaps through a constitutional review, because some of the clauses are entrenched. And so if we think that there should be some more acceptable way of appointing an EC chair, we will need to review the 1992 Constitution. Yeah. That's why I keep on remembering late President Mills of the efforts that he was making towards reviewing the 1992 Constitution. And let me tell you, coming back to the substantive issue of this petition, why? You have people they call aggrieved workers of EC petitioning the president, and we didn't have their names, we didn't have their signatures, just the name and the signature of the lawyer. The lawyer is not a staff of EC, and he is not the petitioner. Now, having realized the deficit through the public conversation, having realized that the petition had a deficit in respect of we not knowing the faces behind it, now we are being told by the presidency that they have received the list of those who brought the petition. I mean, this is just an afterthought, an attempt to cure that deficit. Well, you see, my worry goes beyond just those faceless petitioners who are now beginning to emerge. My worry goes beyond that. Now, if you petition the president, was it the petitioners or the lawyer or the presidency that leaked that petition to the media? Who did that? And what was the motive? Obviously, that would not have been Madame Charlotte Osei, because she was a victim here. And she was not part of those who did the petition. She was a victim here. So she's out of the equation. Was it the petitioners, presidency, or the lawyer who leaked it? And in the course of all this public discussion about the petition, her image had been lowered, she had been bastardized, accused, and you think she shouldn't respond? No. This morning, I was just reading something from your sister station, where a presidential staffer, Ibrahim Ajay, has rubbished all the responses of Madam Charlotte Osei. And I'm worried. If a set of allegations were leveled against her, and you saw nothing wrong with it, you were fine, she's come to respond to them publicly because these allegations have been made known to the public. The woman comes to response, and the staffer at the presidency starts to rubbish that. The question I ask myself is, does that represent the position of the president? Because this is a presidential staffer. He's not just some ordinary Ghanaian walking on the streets here. Now, where we are now...
The presidential staffer doesn't speak for the president.
I know, yes. I know. I'm asking a question. If that represents the understanding, the view, the position of the presidency, that her answers are rubbished. I mean, I'm just asking. I mean, my friend was talking of posture. I'm asking a question about the posture of a staffer at the presidency. Now, where we are now, President Nana-Addo, from my reading of the Constitution, hasn't got the luxury of choice whether to forward it to the Chief Justice or not. He is required by law to submit it to the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice will now determine whether there is a prima facie case against her. If that is established, then we'll be going into the next leg of the issue. But for now, let the president do what the Constitution requires him to do. The Chief Justice, I understand, I have never engaged her, but people who know her will tell you she's very stern. She will not compromise her professional integrity for anything. I hope those virtues come into play. She has the discretion as the Chief Justice to either determine whether there is a case that requires some investigations or a committee or not. She has that that discretion. But I'm also aware that the same constitution requires that when you are exercising powers of discretion, you do that within the remits of the law, and that you do that within the remits of fairness. And so let's see what happens next. But trust me, if you were to context all these remarks prior to the 2016 general elections,
still points a finger
against Madame Charlotte
unseen
and all of a sudden a petition coming to the presidency, it got leaked into the media. You know, now because of the public conversation about we not knowing the faces behind this, and that it renders the petition incompetent. We are being told that the presidency has received. So it's like send a petition and later go and look for yourself. And look, some of the issues they raise are worrying. They are very, very worrying. To say MPP, pro-MPP staffers of EC, that is bad.
Let me take a break. When I come back, I definitely have to go back to Daniel so that Daniel can have his say on this. Don't move. Well, thank you very much for staying, and we're looking at EC's internal wranglings, and indeed some of the revelations coming out, if true, very, very, very damning. Some bordering on serious criminality. Indeed, Kofi Bentil said this morning that, look, in this case, they are choosing for us who our leaders are, and not necessarily us going to the ballot box to selecting our leaders. Daniel, I'm sure you have a lot of rebuttals to do.
The position I want to take is that why will our friends in the NDC take an entrenched position?
Well, because
if they rushed,
because there's ample evidence where you've bastardized this woman, called her names, and openly, and stood your ground.
You can call that to be probably things that happened prior to the election.
Justifiable?
Not justifiable. It may not be justifiable.
You regret them?
But the point...
Do you regret them?
No, the point I'm saying...
Do you regret them?
Because some of the issues you are raising, and look, for instance, you're talking about Dr. Bawumia, you're talking about 76,000 people, represent 10% of people, that is a bloated register. It is true. What happened?
So you want...
No. What happened? Let me tell you what happened. At the end of the day, the EC herself came out to say that the turnout was low, to the point that we had 68% of people turning out to vote in that heavily contested election. Election that determined the fate of this country, whether we're going down or going up. Election that won us over close to about 1 million votes. Where were they? If they were not bloated.
68%.
Yes, 68%.
And you think that was too low?
And in some constituencies and some police stations,
that was too low?
Very, very low.
Wow.
In fact, these are the worst of the EC.
Wow.
The turnout was low. Even in Bantama constituency, I think we had somewhere around 70% coming to vote. Where are the rest?
No, you are only admitting to winning elections.
No, I am telling you that in that case, it vindicates the president, the vice president, for the position he took. Because all the people that were said to be genuine, and for that matter, they reported only small number of people to the Supreme Court and they removed those things. Where were the people that were supposed to vote? Where are they? So, and you are here talking about it. You should be unable, to be honest with you. You should be worried about the position, what you just said. Because really speaking, the EC itself, the EC herself, confirmed that the turnout was low. What low? In some constituencies in the voter region, I'm told it was around 40%. Polling station.
No, you can only deal with the national average.
National average.
Oh, of course.
That is the vindication. So if you are saying that what you were saying was not true, that is what happened. It was a confirmation to the fact that.
So what percentage were you expecting?
I was expecting that in that heavily contested election,
what
where we
made this one heavily?
Huh?
What made 2016
because
heavily?
Everything was at stake.
So there was nothing at stake in 2012.
Was at stake.
There was nothing at stake in 2012.
Stop. This one, after we have gone through our NDC's, our friends in NDC's mess for 8 years, Ghanaians couldn't take it anymore.
Don't let us go to someone messing and the other person not.
So what I'm saying is that in a heavily contested election, you expect that people will come out to vote. In Bantama constituency, we had our highest, rate of winning election. In fact, the last time, 2012, I think it was about 83%. This one, we had almost 89-90%. And where are the rest of the people?
You see, we are not. You see, we are getting.
No. So I'm just saying that if you go back to those allegations.
No, we are getting the issues wrong.
No, we are coming back. You are the one who's
used them. I've just told you. You see what you have just said.
Let me finish. I listen to you.
Winning an election with a bloated register.
No, he's saying that.
Yes,
he's saying that.
Okay, maybe
he's saying that because of the checks, the so-called 700,000 people did not turn up to vote. That's what the analogy he's raising is that.
Dr. Baumia.
To justify Dr. Baumia. That's what he...
You've been around for a very long time.
Yes, why not?
For someone to tell me that 68% turnout in an election in Africa is so low, and that goes to justify some of the reckless statements that were made about the issue, I'm surprised.
No.
When you have majority of your electors living in places where they will need vehicles to get to the police stations.
Well, what I'm telling you.
In my constituency, let me tell you, even though the NDC lost heavily, in my constituency, the margin that we had over the NPP is unprecedented.
Okay.
The numbers were huge and assertive. But trust me, I still could not reach out to every person who was capable and willing to vote.
After you increase the what do you call it, the machines, about 29,000 machines.
Exactly.
You see, so the point I'm making is that...
get into the interlands. We are in Kumasi. We are in Kumasi where you can easily access your electric.
So if you are talking
Come
about...
to Myong and I'll send you to Tombabu.
If you are talking... Even in Kumasi, Madima constituency, we have to do 7 months of house to house.
I'm just telling you that 68%...
So what I'm saying is that those allegations you are talking about...
Reckless statements.
No, those allegations you are talking about, for me, are baseless, they are past and gone.
What? Business?
Yes. Let me
yes.
The pure insults that were raised.
What pure insults?
Hold on.
Accusing her of being appointed for words that I cannot use on this platform.
Hold on for me. You know what it looks as if, hold on 1 second. It looks as if the EC have their internal problems. And the MPP and the EC are thinking, that's a fight. Let's jump into it. Let's jump into it. Because there's ample evidence that since Madam Charlotte has started, she hasn't been able to get along with the guys she works with. For whatever reason,
that seems to be
that's their problem. Yes. Now that has brewed and is now spilling out of the pot.
Yes.
And the two political parties think, well, that's the fight.
Have you ever seen a petition with petitioners? Have you ever in your lifetime seen a petition that petitioners?
Let me finish. Listen, these people hold on. These people use a lawyer. So I don't know the extent to which the lawyer advised what should go and what should not go. And when they were asked, the information has been brought. What's the problem with that? What does it change? It doesn't change anything. Let me say this. You are saying that MPP were against this lady.
Do you still stand by your statement?
No.
That Madam Charlotte Osei is an NDC member.
No, listen, you're not the host. You're not the host. Let me answer the question and let's go to the issue. No. I'm not going to answer your question. I'm not going to answer your question. Now, what I'm saying, the point I'm trying to make is that if you think MPP is against this lady, what are we against her for? After all the postures that was displayed that we spoke against, in spite of all those postures, the election was won at the polling station. We went to court. And the part of the revision was that election should be won at polling stations, and we won it. So I'm telling you,
your tradition is voted for.
No. What I'm saying, I don't want Mohammed. Let me make my point. You're distracting too much. You're just trying to be opposition. That's not the case. Okay. Yes. So what I'm saying is that, what are we afraid of with the EC now? What are we afraid of?
But
when we know how to win election, even if the EC, assuming the EC also on the other side. We are not afraid anymore. So we will not do anything.
But you were afraid prior to the 2016 election.
We were not.
You were afraid.
We're making sure that...
And that was the basis of your reckless allegations against her?
Daniel, the petitioners have a lawyer.
Sure.
The commissioner has a lawyer. And the ECA has a PR team.
Yes.
Why aren't we approaching this thing on the basis that, listen, number one, let us look at the reforms.
Yes.
And number two, let them fight their own fight. But it looks as if, the parties have taken the fight and said, no.
We are doing the fight for them.
Yeah, we're doing the fight for them. And they are quiet.
The only reason we are talking like this is because Honorable Mohammed is taking in that direction. For me, the position is very simple. It's clear. The EC, even if you think EC is for you, and for that matter, our friends in NDC were being spokesman for the EC.
Oh.
Yeah, spokesman for the EC.
How can the EC be for us?
I'm saying that
when
assuming,
they declare an election against us.
No, assuming.
No.
They couldn't.
No.
Listen,
they work by the rules of the game.
Assuming they were for you.
They work by the rules of the game.
Assuming they were for you. We won the election. So what are we afraid of?
And you were declared winners.
So this issue.
So what's the problem?
I think the only reason we are talking about this issue is because our friends in NDC, first and foremost, they've rushed. This is not something that MPP is doing. We have no hands in it. This is internal issue. Maybe, like you said, Nana, it's because of our posture internally. That is bringing the issue. We were scared because of her posture. So
what was her posture?
No, wait.
What was her posture?
He give you examples.
What was her posture?
Right? Things you will not send, changes she will not make, and all those things.
Not at your instance. She was not there to work.
Listen.
To suit your interest.
In this situation, it's within the EC itself.
No.
Let me finish. So there's nothing for us to be afraid. We know how to win the elections now.
So you didn't know prior to 2016?
No. What this issue?
Prior to 2016, you didn't know.
What this issue is, before the election before, what this issue is that it's a national issue. So we are saying that our friends in NDC rushed, and two, if we find out ultimately that they rushed, they should withdraw. If you take an entrenched position that we will never withdraw, how do you get this issue resolved? Let's make it a national issue. Look at it from a national angle, not a party angle.
Have you
this
withdrawn,
is a disgrace to our country.
My brother, have you withdrawn and apologized
for
all the
insults? What insults? For what?
Have you withdrawn and apologized for that?
For what?
Have you withdrawn and apologized for that?
On that note, this is what time would allow us. But let's just hope that between the two parties, we find a national consensus to deal with it nationally. And whatever it is that is going on there, it has to be solved, because our peace and everything is hinged on a credible EC. And whatever it is, we need to get their integrity back and their credibility back. And I hope we find it. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And to you at home, tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. Thank you so much for watching.